and welcome to this week's episode of Surviving Everyday Stress with or without IBS. My name is Dana Lynn Thompson and this is my co-host Baxter. So how did this mega IBS event come about? As everyone knows, back in March of 2020, the world went into lockdown because of the COVID-19 virus. And unlike that Winston Churchill quote that I showed you at the beginning of this video, the unforeseeable and the unexpected do not add relish to the life of someone with anxiety and IBS. This was a really stressful event for everyone, but for those of us who struggle with anxiety and have IBS already, this event was super tough. First of all, my husband is a full-time musician. He has a packed full gig schedule that is especially busy in the spring. And within 2 days, when the lockdown went into effect, his entire gig schedule went away. So that was our second income was gone. And then I was transitioning from a 9-to-5 office job to completely working remotely from home, basically overnight. So that was stressful in itself. The number two thing that happened was that our grocery shopping routine got completely thrown off. We are a family of two. I'm a vegetarian and my husband is not. I mainly eat gluten-free and my husband does not. So we don't normally shop for several weeks in a row. Scott will ask me what I want for dinner and he'll go to the grocery store and buy just what we're having for dinner that night. Or a lot, we go out to eat a lot. For us to go to the store and buy 3 to 4 weeks worth of groceries that are basically non-perishable is not something that we are experienced in. So when we went to the grocery store, a lot of the stuff that you'd actually want to eat was already gone. So we're just wandering up and down the aisles, like throwing all this junk food into our cart that we knew wouldn't perish. We had like bags of chips and tons of cookies and we had soda and just a bunch of junk food. It was like 2 teenagers were going on vacation. We just had all this junk food piled up in the corner of the kitchen counter and we really did not have anything healthy. So about a week into this stress-filled junk eating fest, my stomach started to hurt. The cramps that I normally get when my IBS kicks in, and they didn't stop for 4 weeks. I don't think I need to tell you how hard it is to get in to see a doctor during the COVID lockdown. I'm sure some of you might have tried it and had the same luck that I had. I was able to talk to a doctor on demand over the phone, but she was really unable to diagnose what was wrong with me, and so she prescribed me a painkiller, which honestly didn't work at all, and I took them for about 2 days and stopped. It got so bad that I finally went to our local urgent care where they refused to even see me and sent me to the ER. So when I got out to the car and I called Scott and I told him that they wouldn't even see me, and I just burst into tears because at that point I had been in pain for 2 weeks straight with no relief whatsoever. He told me that I should just go to the ER. So I went to our local ER where they did a blood test and a urinalysis, and of course, for those of us who know about IBS, everything came back normal. It's not going to show anything on any of those tests. They wanted to do an MRI and a CT scan, but at that point I was so worried about the cost of this ER visit and spending all this money and them not finding anything that I kind of just said no thank you and I went home. That day I also called our local gastroenterologist to try to get an appointment and I was told it was going to be another 2 weeks. Again, more tears. I was in such pain, I couldn't get any relief and I couldn't get in to see anybody. I really was at my wit's end. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Thankfully, fate intervened and we were talking to a friend of ours who was good friends with the gastroenterologist. They were able to call in a favor and he called me on the phone to ask me what my symptoms were. He told me the 3 things that I absolutely needed to cut out of my diet to lessen my symptoms. So he said to me, okay, here's what we're gonna do. And just to hear those words that somebody actually had a plan for something that I could do to relieve my symptoms was like music to my ears. So he said, you are going to cut out sugar, you're going to cut out dairy, and you are going to cut out soda and alcohol. He also said that just from what I had told him about what I had been eating, that he was pretty sure I had an abundance of bad bacteria in my stomach. And while changing the diet is going to help, at this point, I really think you need to take an antibiotic for about 7 days. So he prescribed metronidazole to me, and really within 2 to 3 days, my symptoms were gone. I would love to hear if anybody else had any interesting stories about their IBS from the COVID-19 lockdown. So if you could leave me a comment below, that would be great. And just a reminder that March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. Colon cancer runs in my family. I lost my dad at the young age of 62 from colon cancer that had spread to liver and lungs. So I just wanted to tell everyone that if you have a history of colon cancer in your family or you're over the age of 50, please go and get your colonoscopy. I know sometimes that healthcare insurance is really difficult these days. If you're not able to afford your colonoscopy, I know there are groups that offer colonoscopies to the underserved, so possibly that could be something that you would look into. I will leave a link for the ccalliance.org and fightcolorectalcancer.org in the description below in case you're interested in more information. Next week, we're going to be talking about the 4 must-have items in your IBS toolkit. And as always, I'm a rescue dog mom. Remember to adopt, don't shop, and I'll see you next week. Bye.